Good morning, everyone. Temperatures in the upper 40s to lower 50s for this morning. We warm up into the lower 60s later on this afternoon with mostly sunny skies. Full details on your weather forecast coming up in just a few minutes. Passe Partout begins right now.
Right now, did you know parents in New Iberia could soon be charged with negligence if they're unaware of their child's whereabouts? Plus, a woman speaking out about the dangers of an intersection in Acadiana. We'll hear what she has to say and the kind of response she's getting from local officials. And a look at the historic dance hall in Henderson, which was destroyed after flames engulfed the buildings. We'll hear from the people who are heartbroken.
Live from Acadiana, your local news leader, this is Passe Partout.
I'm Renee Allen. We thank you for joining us. We begin in St. Mary Parish, where state police and local authorities are investigating a possible explosive device found yesterday morning, just before noon Saturday. Deputies with the St. Mary Parish Sheriff's Office and firefighters with the Amelia Fire Department were called to a residence on Barrow Street about an unknown possible explosive device. Now, when residents in the area were evacuated as precaution, the area of that street was closed off to the public. Now, the recreation center there was being offered yesterday to families who were evacuated and needed a place to go. The State Police Hazmat Division and Bob Division also responded to the scene. In Iberia Parish, 3 Jeanerette men are in jail after being arrested on several gun and drug charges. 25-year-old Javontre Richard and 28-year-old Royce Morris and 37-year-old Jared Eugene are all charged with possession of a firearm by a convicted felon. Richard and Morris are each facing multiple charges of possession with intent to sell or distribute several dangerous substances. During the execution of the arrest warrants, officers located 5 firearms, marijuana, various pills, codeine, and cash right there in the vehicle of Richard and Morris were in. Henderson's famous Whiskey River Landing Dance Hall went up in flames Wednesday night. News 10's Dawson D'Amico taking us to Henderson, where the community is fondly remembering Whiskey River.
Sad, you know, it's sad for us. Because we made the Whiskey River. We made the Whiskey River. Whiskey River was nothing. It was a boat landing.
Formerly owned by the Angel family, Whiskey River Landing Dance Hall started off just as a bar and boat launch. The family decided to add a back porch area to be able to host events like fishing rodeos and live bands. And the legend of Whiskey River lived on for years.
The people came to Whiskey River to have fun.
The Angel family closed the doors to the dance hall 4 years ago. The building was recently bought by a new owner. They were looking to reopen it before the fire burned it down. Many in the community stopped by to see the wreckage and reflected on the good old days.
Like I say, it's going to be a lot of memories right here, boy. I'd have rolled down that ramp any time.
Oh yeah.
Had to carry me back home.
Henderson resident Bobby LeBlanc says he is not sure what is next for the historical property, but knows whatever does happen cannot replace what Whiskey River once was.
I don't know, man. I mean, right now they'd tear that down and put something new, but it wouldn't be the same. There's no place they're going to put it is going to replace this. Going to replace Whiskey River. There's nobody going to replace Whiskey River. They can forget it. They can do what they want. Yeah. It'll never be the same.
Yeah, it's hard to replace an oldie but goodie. And that was Dawson D'Amico reporting there. The investigation into the cause of the fire, we're told, is still ongoing. The former CEO of Baton Rouge Health Clinic has been sentenced to over 6 years in prison for defrauding the Louisiana Medicaid program. He's also ordered to pay nearly $2 million in restitution. A jury convicted 37-year-old Victor Clark Kirk of defrauding the Medicaid program of over $1.8 million and for the false medical diagnoses of children. In Eunice, what started as a high school basketball game has turned into a law enforcement investigation. Yeah, as you can see in this video from spectators, Two players initially started the fight, and the fight just continued on. Other audience members cleared the stands and fought the opposing teams and supporters. This led to the Eunice City Marshal's Office and Eunice Police Departments getting involved to calm the situation down. News 10's Zane Hogue uncovered the events that took place as Eunice High hosted Washington Marion.
Here in Eunice, an investigation between law enforcement and the Louisiana High School Athletic Association is underway after a high school basketball game turned into a physical altercation.
Started with two players on the court, and then from what we can understand and from the videos we've reviewed, they did have spectators come out to stand and get involved in it.
Eunice City Marshal Terry Darbon says two deputies were there as tempers flared following a play during the Eunice High School and Washington Marion basketball game. Deputies immediately reached out to the police department for backup as more spectators joined the fight.
Our main objective there was to get the matter under control. We escorted the Washington Marion players and the spectators out of there first, and actually we escorted the buses out of town.
At this time, no arrests have been made, and LaBeouf says the difficult part of the investigation is not being able to identify potential suspects from the video quality they've received. LaBeouf also says no one from the game has pressed any charges.
We are following up on some information. The problem is some of the videos we have, it's very hard to identify any individuals in particular. But we have been in touch with the Eunice High School principal, and we are working that as we speak. This time we haven't had any one individual come forward and complain that, you know, a battery was committed on them at this point. So we're still looking at that.
Both law enforcement and the Louisiana High School Athletic Association say they will continue the investigation to decide if any students will be punished. In Eunice, I'm Zane Hogue for KLFY News 10.
All right, Eunice officials say fights like this are another reason for enhancing security and including medical detectors to ensure no weapons can be brought into these sporting events. A woman speaking out about the dangers of an intersection in Acadiana. This comes after her business received a lot of property damage from a car accident there. The intersection in question is Grand Point Boulevard and Cully Saloon Road. Here's News 10's Rodriguez Taylor with answers as to what's being done. She reports from where the accident occurred.
Almost $100,000 worth of property damage between two vehicles and a building, and someone could have easily lost their lives.
Marie Pace says late last month her business was damaged because of an accident at the intersection of Grand Point Boulevard and Collie Saloon Road.
We had two vehicles that hit each other, one trying to leave the neighborhood, the other one coming down Collie Saloon. Neither could really easily see the other one. Both panicked, they hit each other, and the car coming on Collie Saloon took out the car, a stop sign, and hit my office building.
Pace says a way to improve the safety of the area is to remove the utility box.
We have a utility box that is obstructing the view of traffic coming out of our neighborhood at Grand Point subdivision and obstructing the view of people on Collie Saloon coming this way.
Warren Abedy, who works for Lafayette city government, says they performed a sight distance study at the intersection.
The distance that you can see at the intersection, along with the speed limit of Collie Saloon, that you can see far enough that there's adequate amount of sight distance at the intersection. However, it doesn't meet engineering standards as far as speed limit, even with the box there.
Abedy offers a different suggestion for drivers when reaching the intersection.
We do understand that it's not a convenient option, but if there's drivers of the neighborhood that have anxiety about turning left at this location, an option is to turn right, go around the roundabout at Collie Saloon and Broussard, and then come back.
The bottom line is it's an obstruction to safety, and we're going to end up having somebody killed. We're already doing tons of damage to property. It's not okay. It needs to be moved.
The director says they'll be monitoring the area for accidents. If there is an increase, they will take action. He also welcomes anyone to speak to him directly about any concerns they may be having about this. A national animal welfare organization dedicated to ending pet homelessness is providing emergency assistance to support the St. Landry Parish Animal Control in Opelousas. With pet lives at risk following significant staff changes, Parish President Jesse Ballard is asking for help from the Bissell Pet Foundation. to make immediate changes in the care of the shelter's pet population. Kim Alborn with Bissell says they're in dire need of a new shelter, and there are things residents can do to help out.
They can talk to their commissioners about building a new animal shelter. When they're thinking of adopting, they can come to the animal shelter to adopt. And if they find a stray dog, they can work really hard to find its home instead of bringing it here to the animal shelter.
And she says they're bringing in extra staff as well, but with a rundown shelter, it's almost impossible to stop disease from spreading. First responders across Vermilion Parish came together yesterday for an autism awareness event. Deputies with the Vermilion Parish Sheriff's Office teamed up with other first responders, including police officers, firefighters, and paramedics in the parish. The first responders met with people with autism who were able to show them their vehicles, uniforms, and tell them all about who they are and what they do. People with family members who are autistic also came and filled out these forms about their family member's condition. That would put them into the 911 system. This way, first responders will be notified that a person with autism is living at a residence they may be called out to.
And the reason we're doing that because the response might be just a little bit different. Some autistic people can't. They have a problem with lights. Some of them have problems with sounds. So this is a way that we're going to know before we get there, while we're responding, to be able to control that and respond just a little bit different.
If you missed out on the event, you can always find and submit that form on the Vermilion Parish Sheriff's Office's website. Right down the middle for you right there, Trevor. All right, we're going to check with Trevor Saunier over in the Weather Center, and the magic of TV and the magic of the forecast.
Yeah, it just splits you, right?
Right down the middle. Go ahead.
Yeah, some pretty nice weather for today, though. Mostly sunny skies. We do have clouds now, but these clouds will be clearing out. Let's take a look at temperatures firstly. We're sitting in the 50s for this morning. We're sitting at 52 in Lafayette, 51 in New Iberia, 49 in Opelousas. Satellite radar shows clouds continuing to be and hang around the area as they typically do this time of year, but they will be moving out later on today. The main front is actually off to our east, still producing some rainfall for the far southeastern areas of Acadiana today, so I'll still sport about a 10% chance for a shower just in case one of these decides to develop a little further off to the west and move into the area. But rain chances look pretty low for today, and that rain chance and that cloud cover will steadily be working eastward, and we'll see mostly sunny skies, and that allows temperatures to warm pretty quickly. You can almost tell on this graph when the clouds clear out. Notice we're in the mid-50s through most of the morning, and then all of a sudden we jump into the lower 60s. That's that cloud cover clearing out after the noon hour until about 5 p.m. That's when we could actually see some of that sunshine. So here's your future track model. It agrees with it. It shows mostly sunny sky later on this afternoon. Clear skies for tonight. That's why temperatures will be able to drop into the upper 30s pretty easily by tomorrow morning. And then tomorrow afternoon, sunshine continues. Highs will be in the upper 50s, so we'll still be on the cool side. Upper 40s for this morning, lower 60s for this afternoon, dropping back into the mid to upper 30s for tomorrow morning. So it will be a cold start to your work week. And for tomorrow afternoon, in the upper 50s. So it will be warming up a bit for tomorrow, but still pretty cool, even during the heart of the afternoon. Northwesterly flow continues over the area, and that's why we're going to see cool air at least for the next 24 to 36 hours. A northwesterly wind 8 to 16 miles per hour today. We'll switch that to a northeasterly wind for tomorrow. Either way, still cool air advection coming in from the north. So trough number 1 moves through for today. That gives us a northwesterly flow, but it will be temporary because we have southwesterly flow coming back in for late tomorrow and through Tuesday, and that's when we could see a pretty potent storm system working through the area Tuesday afternoon and Tuesday evening. Maybe a slight chance for severe weather. It all depends on the instability. Looks like the wind shear will be there for severe weather. The question will be, will the thermodynamics be there? Will the instability be there? That's something we'll have to wait and see on. Either way, I'm anticipating a high rain chance and the possibility of some heavier rainfall on Tuesday. So 61 degrees your high today, mostly sunny and comfortable. A northwesterly wind at 8 to 16 miles per hour. Upper 50s for your Monday. A 70% chance for rain on Tuesday. Again, maybe a severe weather threat. At the very least, I think we'll see a heavy rainfall threat. Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday looking pretty good, though. Highs in the 50s and some cold starts. Models have been trending colder and colder. Upper 30s Thursday, mid-30s, maybe low to mid-30s for Friday morning.
Yeah, we're due. We're about due. We had some really nice weather there, like in the 70s, and it just was fabulous.
Yeah, the next 2, maybe 3 weeks look a little colder for sure.
All right. We thank you for that, Trevor. Now, if you want to check out some of the stories you see this morning and your local weather forecast, you know what to do. You log on to our website. That's KLFY.com. Still to come here on Passe Partout this Sunday morning. Parents stand to face being charged with negligence if they're unaware of their child's whereabouts. Yeah, we told you about that earlier. That's next for you.
And it looks like storms will be coming in for your Tuesday, followed by more cool weather Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. More weather details after the break.
Watch your local news wherever you go. The new KLFY app features a live local newscast with push notifications so you never miss today's news. Watch it live now.